Echoes of Eden. Chapter 1. A Story of Rebuilding and Redemption. The dust of the past 5 years had settled, literally and figuratively, over Hope County, Montana. Once a place choked by radioactive haze and crawling with the remnants of tyranny, the county now breathed again. The air was sharp with pine and fertile soil. The scars of the collapse remained, charred tree lines, half-buried vehicles, and buckled roadways. But they no longer defined the land. Instead, they framed it, reminding everyone how far they had come. This is the story of Don Jenkins, once the nameless captain of the security forces, and Carmina Rye, the fierce pilot-turned-mother, 5 years after the fall of the Highwaymen twins, Mickey and Lou. It is a story of rebuilding, reluctant alliances, and the quiet hope that grows in the ashes of a world reborn. Part 1. Securing the Remnants. The aftermath of the final confrontation on Joseph Seed's sanctuary was not marked by celebration. There were no parades or proclamations. There was only work. Grim, relentless, necessary work. Don had watched Joseph Seed walk away from the battlefield like a man exiled from his own prophecy. The prophet had asked for death. Don had denied him that. Death would have made him a martyr, a symbol for the desperate and lost. Living, Don believed, would make him powerless. But as he watched Joseph disappear into the broken timberlands, he had felt a weight settled in his chest. Not victory, not relief, just responsibility. Hope County was free from the twins, but not from danger. The Highwaymen, scattered and leaderless, dissolved into dozens of cruel, hungry splinter groups. They raided farms, ambushed travelers, and turned the ruins of old settlements into nests of violence. Carmina had said it best, "We hunt them like wolves. They've had their season." And so they did. For 2 years, Carmina, Don, and a hardened cadre of prosperity fighters waged a slow, punishing attrition campaign. They swept through the Holland Valley with practiced precision, clearing out pockets of resistance. They fought in the narrow canyons near the Henbane River, using the terrain to bottleneck ambushes. In the Whitetail Mountains, where the roads were little more than broken memories, they used stealth and survival tactics learned from the stories of Eli Palmer's old militiamen, the Whitetails. Carmina flew an aging gyrocopter, Nick Rye's pride and joy, patched together with more stubbornness than spare parts. Her eyes were as sharp as ever. She could spot a highwayman campfire from miles away. Don managed ground operations, mapping routes, organizing patrols, and coordinating strikes with a level of calm that steadied even the most battle-weary survivors. They were partners, not just in war, but in purpose. Her fire countered his strategy. His patience tempered her rage. Together, they reclaimed Hope County, inch by inch, rooting out the highwaymen like remnants of a fever that refused to break. Part 2. The Truce and the Prophet's Return. As the battles raged, something unexpected stirred in the Whitetail Mountains. Whispers, sightings, a familiar figure, gaunt and hollow-eyed, wandering the burned forests. Joseph Seed. The last of the New Eden followers, those who had refused to abandon their secluded, ascetic lifestyle, found him living in a small handmade shelter near the ruins of Father's Gate. His once commanding voice had quieted to a whisper. His sermons, if they could be called that, were gentle reflections rather than proclamations. Gone was the firebrand prophet. In his place stood a man who had stared into nuclear fire and found only his own broken reflection. The loss of his son had broken him in ways that few could imagine. The New Edeners did not ask him to be their ruler again. They did not rebuild his throne. They asked only for the comfort of his presence, his counsel, his understanding of the faith that had once bound them. And Joseph, humbled by devastation he felt responsible for, agreed on one condition. He would never again lead them in worldly matters, only in faith. And beside him, silent as winter, the judge. clad in the tattered remnants of the deputy's uniform, face hidden behind a crude mask. The judge had become a protector, a living reminder of the sins and tragedies that had borne this new world. His loyalty to Joseph was absolute, but without the mindless zeal of New Eden's earlier days. He was a guardian, not an executioner. Don had hoped Joseph would fade into irrelevance. He was wrong. New Eden, under this new humbled prophet, grew stronger. Disciplined, self-sustaining, spiritually bound, but not zealously dangerous. Their ability to thrive in harsh terrain and produce food, clothing, medicine, and tools could not be ignored. Peace, Don realized, would require unity. He and Carmina arranged a meeting on the border of the Whitetail Mountains. The snow was ankle-deep, the air cold enough to burn the lungs. Joseph arrived flanked by New Eden watchers. The judge stood behind him like a shadow carved from sorrow. Don spoke plainly. "Now that we have both had time to regroup and settle in, I propose we continue our efforts to end the threat of the Highwaymen in Hope County forever. They are a plague on our people, and we still need your continued assistance to secure the county." Joseph nodded slowly. "Suffering has taught me what sermons never could, Captain. Faith without love is hollow. The battle for New Eden was lost, but we survived. We will gather our forces to aid you." Prosperity brought machines, tools, builders, and hard-earned knowledge. New Eden brought resilience, discipline, and a mystical belief in survival through simplicity. Together, they forged a truce and peace that would hold for years. Pastor Jerome, scarred yet unbroken, served as mediator between the secular and the spiritual. His compassion softened edges that might otherwise have sharpened into conflict. Even the judge, though still silent, seemed calmer among the unified people, a symbol of the county's new balance. In that church, under the warm glow of oil lamps, Pastor Jerome married Carmina Rye and Don Jenkins. The ceremony was simple, heartfelt, and witnessed by the newly united communities. It marked not just the union of two people, but the mending of the county. Part 4. Hope County Reborn. 5 years after the fall of Mickey and Lou, Hope County had transformed into a patchwork of thriving settlements. Prosperity, still the beating heart of Reconstruction, expanded with watchtowers, new workshops, and improved housing. It buzzed with energy day and night. New Falls End, rebuilt on the ashes of its predecessor, it became a symbol of civilization, a place where trade, community, and learning flourished. The Holland Valley, revived as a vast breadbasket. The old seed fields, once places of fear, were now places of nourishment. The Henbane River Basin, lush, stable, and flowing with life. Its waterways powered makeshift turbines that provided electricity to nearby settlements. Fishing villages grew along the banks. Dutchess Island, renamed and fortified, it became a communication hub with radio towers, lookout posts, and training grounds for scouts. The Whitetail Mountains, the refuge of New Eden. Settlements hid among the pines, their inhabitants living simply, farming, crafting, and worshiping quietly under Joseph's watchful guidance. Some New Edeners moved into New Falls End, blending spirituality with the secular world. Pastor Jerome rebuilt his church there, transforming it into a place not of doctrine, but of solace. Prosperity engineers, New Eden mystics, scavengers, and farmers all sat side by side on Sundays, united not by faith, but by survival and community. Part 4. The Next Generation and the Call Beyond. Peace, once unimaginable, settled over Hope County like fresh snow. Don and Carmina built a life together. Their home, buzzing with the laughter of their 3 children, 2 twin boys aged 3, Rush and Eli, and a 2-year-old younger daughter, Grace, became a beacon of warmth. Nick Rye, now a doting grandfather, told them stories of blue skies, roaring engines, and the world before the collapse.
Kimiko taught them survival skills: tracking, farming, first aid, and most importantly, hope. The county prospered. Raiders were rare and dealt with swiftly. The highwaymen were broken, and reports filtered in from wandering traders that other states had risen up too. Hope County's rebellion had inspired a movement. But peace can feel heavy when built on sacrifice. Carmina felt it first, the weight of all the people who had died to give them this quiet life. Don felt it too. Thomas Rush, Jess Black, the Whitetail Militia, Nick's old friends, even the lost souls from Joseph's broken flock. One night, as they watched their children sleep, Carmina whispered, "Rush came here because he believed in something bigger. People died for us to have this peace."
Don nodded, voice low. "We paid a high price here. But others are still paying it," she said softly. "And we're sitting on knowledge, on resources, on hope." Don took her hand. He understood immediately. This wasn't about war. It was about repayment. "Then we repay them," he said. Within weeks, a specialized expedition team was formed. 2 lethal New Eden scouts. One, a woman who spoke in soft riddles but could split a pine cone at 50 yards. 2 prosperity mechanics, masters of rebuilding anything with an engine. Supplies, medicine, maps and blueprints for sustainable settlements. And leading them, Don and Carmina Rye Jenkins. Their mission? To travel beyond Hope County, offering aid, knowledge, trade, and unity to other broken regions, to help others rise, as they themselves had. As they prepared to depart, the judge stood silently at the edge of prosperity, watching over their children. Joseph Seed bowed his head, offering a quiet blessing, not as a prophet, but as a man seeking redemption. The valley behind the team glowed golden in the morning sun. Ahead lay an uncertain world, ruined, dangerous, but filled with possibility. Their journey had just begun.